Welcome back, this is Scuba with more bonus episodes of Let's Play Xenosaga Episode 3. We are back on the main menu because I feel that I have shown off pretty much everything that there is to show off in the game before you beat the game. So we're back here to show how you can get access to the rest of the content. So let's first continue. I do have several saves here. I believe 10. We're going to go with number 2 here. This is when I cheated and beat the game. So we're going to go ahead and load this one, and we will see what awaits us on the other side. But as you can see, we get a teaser for it here. We have a game clear bonus. We have unlocked swimsuit mode. We have unlocked Alan's swimsuit, which you can see he's the third one from the left there. We'll take a closer look eventually. Then it says press the square button when selecting the scene to switch to swimsuit mode. This mode will replay the event with the characters wearing their swimsuits. Only applies to characters with swimsuits unlocked. But I do have everybody's swimsuit unlocked now, even Alan's. Let's get in. And as you can see, Ziggy is still wearing his swimsuit. Congratulations, game clear bonus. Acquired Alan's swimsuit and flawless. Now, Alan's swimsuit, I can't really show off right now because I don't really have the ability to equip Alan right now, but we'll find a way to take a closer look at it. We'll also take a closer look at Ziggy's because you have to take a closer look at Ziggy's, I think. All right, so let's take a look at what I did get. Alan is still a guest here. We're back on the Elsa. This is how you can do some of the side quests after you beat the game. When you load the clear game, it will load you onto the Elsa so you can take care of Erde Kaiser Sigma and all that kind of stuff after you beat the game. That's actually kind of nice. There are quite a few games where they don't let you do that, and I wish they would because the super bosses are so much harder than the final bosses as it is. But we will take a look at that flawless that I got. That's actually an armor for chaos. So let's go ahead and equip him with it. It does increase his vitality by 3, his ether defense by 3, and his ether attack by 20. Special armor that changes the character model. So we will go ahead and switch him in as well. He'll take over Ziggy's spot for the time being so that we can get a look at Flawless. Yeah, it's just his Lost Jerusalem outfit that we saw in the cutscenes many times. There's not too much to look at when it comes to it. He's got some sort of bead tassel in front and back. That's probably the best thing about it. He also has a gigantic crucifix looking thing, but we will get a closer look at that later. This time we won't be going into battle for that. But as you might have noticed, when we loaded up the save game, we did get a database update, which is kind of weird because on this file I have a complete database already, but they do indeed update a lot. So we will be going through the final database update, but it's at like 105% or something. So let's take a look. This does contain quite a bit of spoilers, and hopefully it will help explain the game better than I attempted to, but I did try. We're going to first start with Shion's mother, Aoi Uzuki. Let's see what is new. That's the hardest part for this. It's trying to decipher what we have already seen and what we haven't seen. As a result of this latent characteristic, where she's part of the people of Zohar, Aoi became the subject of Udu observation and ultimately slipped into a coma due to the resulting stress. I guess the thing that's changed there is Udu observed her. So, there you go. Next up, we do have Alan. Alan is quite the database entry these days. Let's try to find what is new. Acting as vice chief for the duration of Shion's time at Vector, he continually supported Shion and garnered her trust and that of his subordinates with his diligent work ethic. The term simple and honest describe this affable young man perfectly. That it does. That it does. Yeah, he was appointed after she left. He cares for Shion, but due to past events concerning Shion and her former love, Kevin Winnicott, and his own personal insecurities regarding Kevin, he does not often express his thoughts and emotions, and never says anything to Shion. His family appears to be quite wealthy, but he prefers to avoid relying on them. His hobby is fishing. He matures, here we go, this is definitely new. He matures, albeit gradually, through the time he spends with Shion and the others, ultimately showing his manhood by excoriating Kevin for using Shion and Cosmos and brushing away the last doubts in Shion's heart. Although the distance between his and Shion's hearts has drawn noticeably closer since the incident on Mictum, his true worth as a man will be measured from here on in how he grows closer still. Wait, the only measure of him as a man is how close he gets to Shion? If you say so. Alright, here's the big one, Wilhelm. Wilhelm is going to have quite a bit added to him, if I recall correctly. Let's see where that starts. I guess we'll start here. The only ones to understand Wilhelm's fixation with Shion and Cosmos, his purpose and motivation, are the Testaments, and even they may not truly understand his plans. Add them to the list. Yes, he fills his office with the music of Wagner, who I do believe wrote that Zarathustra song. Calling chaos Yeshua and reading the movements of the compass and ordering chaos, he plots to change the very shape of the world in trying to bend the movement of the God-ordained compass towards his own desired conclusion. He makes himself a traitor unto God. What he is attempting to accomplish can be inferred from the words he once spoke to Kevin as a boy, eternal recurrence. Millennia ago, when the will of humanity resonated with chaos's power of anima, the failsafe of the universe's destruction was ordained. Wilhelm chose eternal recurrence through Zarathustra as a means of averting that destruction, rewinding time to the past and living in an eternal cycle. Vector, Ormus, the Testaments, and finally Cosmos and Shion. He waited until the moment that all the necessary factors were lined up. It is unsure whether the current cycle is the 10th recurrence or even the 100th, but the distortions created by the repetition gradually changed people's consciousness. Ultimately, mankind rejected his power, choosing to progress to the future by their own will. So even they say it's happened many, many times before, but they don't know how often, and that people did change and rejected Wilhelm and decided that what he was doing was bad. While his methods differed from Shion's, Wilhelm undoubtedly sought to save the world just the same. Like I said, he's not necessarily the big bad guy here. Or perhaps what he truly wanted was a revolution in mankind's consciousness brought about by the cyclical recurrence of time. I doubt that was his goal, since he was so hesitant to accept it at the end. But if you say so, game. Let's see what else we have here. We do have chaos. And I hit the wrong button. Been playing too many games. Forget which one's okay and which one's canceled. Yes, he's a slight boy. He is the human incarnation of anima, a power derived from the collective unconscious and present since the beginning of the universe in this dimension. His powers act as a failsafe for all of dimensional space. Our space. As the release of his powers would mean the destruction of dimensional space, his powers were divided up into parts by his antithesis, Mary Magdalene and a Mus, in the distant past, presumably right after the time of the Messiah. Chaos regained his former powers through Cosmos' awakening, and left the possibility of a future in the hands of Abel, Udu that chose to remain in this lower dimension. That's kind of weird how they phrase that. Chaos unleashed the power of anima, performing a dimensional shift with Nephilim, the recipient of Mary's power, leading the consciousness of mankind back to lost Jerusalem. He still exists as the universe's failsafe, because of his fate ordained by God, or perhaps because people struggling against their own fates desire his existence. His future form still lies within the chaotic darkness, but Chaos continues to believe the future will be born illuminated by the radiance of consciousness. So, that's Chaos. Next up we have Kevin. We have seen a lot of this. Yeah, we have seen most of this. Here we go. About his last name, I guess. The surname Winnicott is from the foster parents who took him in after his escape from Mictum. It is unknown whether Kevin is his true given name or not. Regardless, it remains true that as a native of Mictum, inheritor of the blood of Abraxas, his lineage is steeped in deep connection to the Zohar. So, now we don't even know what his real name is. Thanks. taking even more away from me, are you, game? Let's see what else we got for him as a kid. Eventually placed in an orphanage, he was quickly accepted by foster parents thanks to his keen intelligence. The surname Winnicott was taken from these parents. He refused to mention anything except for the name Kevin, and his original surname is unknown. So apparently he could have just made up his name when he was a kid. Reports from the orphanage confirmed that he carried a pendant thought to be a memento of his mother. His foster parents died in the ensuing Miltian conflict, in which Realians across the galaxy went berserk. So, how he got the pendant, I don't think they're going to tell us at all, but that also seems important if it is indeed the same pendant throughout the entire game and there was no switch. Alright, Kevin's mother. The pendant passed on from Kevin to Xion was originally a possession of his mother, its composition the same as that of Mictam's underground ruins, Zarathustra, which leads one to believe that either she or her husband were not only descendants of the people of Zohar, but in addition had a deep connection with the ruins. We're still at the end of the game and they're just kind of giving us hints and questions. Alright, the Cosmos archetype. The archetype was designed and constructed for the purpose of monitoring Xion. All of its functionality was contained within the core unit, which was later recovered and installed in Cosmos. Kevin, needing to die in front of Xion's eyes, had secretly installed a program into the archetype, causing it to go out of control. The program was later engaged via the startup key, which Kevin had given to Andrew. Andrew being Trenkov, if you remember correctly. That's something that I didn't go over in my explanation, that Kevin actually programmed Cosmos to wake up and kill him in order to try to awaken Xion. I apologize. That was important. I should have brought that up. All right, Cosmos. Let's see here. There's a lot on Cosmos. I guess this is new. Why were Cosmos' repairs that took place on the Miltia of the past within Xion's deep memory, a type of imaginary space reflected in the real world? One reason is the fact that actions in one portion of the UMN, the deep memory that is to say, the collective unconscious, are equivalent to those in the real world according to one definition, where the difference is strictly subjective, brought about by the observer's recognition of it as such. See, now we're getting into quantum mechanics again. Though Cosmos awakened as Mary Magdalene as a result of Telos' defeat, Mary's original memories and characteristics have undergone a transformation, leading to the creation of an entirely new personality which is both Mary and not Mary at the same time. Quantum mechanics. This is fundamentally and wow, now I can't even say the name. Analogous? I'm blanking on how to pronounce that. Is fundamentally similar to Sakura's transformation into Momo. The battle over, Cosmos falls into an eternal sleep and drifts, like the passage of time, through the emptiness of space. A blue light penetrates her battered and faded figure. Perhaps that light will be the cause of a new awakening. We can only hope. We do have a lot to go over here, don't we? Xion! Damn right, there better be something about Xion. Only a few people know that she has a congenital, unique sense that allowed her to see into imaginary space since early childhood. Impossible for most people. The holographic glasses she wears were a present from Kevin during her time at Vector. They served not to correct her vision, but to control this ability. Was this brought up? Ever? This seems kind of important. I'm trying to think if there were any clues throughout the whole game. I can't think of any off the top of my head. That she could see into imaginary space. However, as this sense of hers is not active all the time, and as she has gotten used to it, she removed the glasses when they present an inconvenience to her daily life. Her consciousness has existed since the time of Lost Jerusalem as the Maiden, when she enjoyed a close relationship with Mary Magdalene. Her brief vision of the distant past was not through Cosmos' memory, but through her own. It can be deduced from Cosmos' last words that Xion's former self died as a result of being caught up in some larger occurrence, and that Cosmos, Mary, had been unable to protect her. After discovering Alan's feelings for her on Mictam, Xion took the first step towards her independence. Shion, for whom Kevin's existence was so large that it had occluded Alan's feelings for her until then, might have felt that Alan, who lived in a world entirely opposite from her own, could better provide her heart a place of respite than Kevin, whose circumstances mirrored her own. A traveler headed to Lost Jerusalem, the end of a journey spanning thousands upon thousands of years, setting out from a new dawn to rebuild the world, the intersection of countless consciousnesses, and what awaits them there. We don't really know if she made it, though. Just don't know.